Good morning. And thank you for joining our very first symposium, Igniting Your Fire Within, sharing our experiences of COVID-19. The F.Y.R.E Initiative is excited for you to join us today to honor the resilience of our igniters during COVID-19, engage in intergenerational conversations around our very own F.Y.R.E topics, and hear from our amazing speakers. My name is Tiella Grimes, and I am the Senior Program Manager of the F.Y.R.E Initiative, and I am honored to be your host today. Hello, Monet. I see you in the chat. It's one of our F.Y.R.E Igniters in the house. So first and foremost, I would like to thank you for joining us on this beautiful day. I know the weather is going to be lovely, 90 degrees. And so for you to be here with us, you could be anywhere else in this moment. Thank you for sharing a part of your day with us. And we will get out into that 90-degree weather right at its peak. So you'll hit it at a good time. So I would like to first start off with thanking our sponsor, Pegasystems, for sponsoring today's event. In addition to having an amazing team of volunteers support with hosting a table talk discussion, which will take place later this afternoon. At any point in time, if you need any assistance during the event, please refer to the attendees guide. You may also chat with a YW staff member by double clicking on the help desk icon. When we were in our larger area, that would be to the left of the stage. And here you can go into the chat and you find our names with YW staff underneath it, and you'll be able to connect with one of us. The final way to receive assistance is the help icon found at the bottom left corner of your screen. There's a little question mark. So if you have any questions navigating this space, please click off over there. So we are really excited for today. It's our first symposium. It's really exciting because during this time, we're here in COVID-19. Some of us probably zoomed out, being online, being in different spaces. So to really come together, to really create some dynamic conversations and talk about some of the things that have transpired over the last year is really important. And overall, fire is a space. We talk about, we say, what do you bring to our bonfire? And the bonfire is to think about when we come together and we're sitting around the fire and we're talking and we're sharing beyond just burning marshmallows and making amazing s'mores, we are contributing a piece of ourselves. So today in the chat, make sure you let us know what you are bringing to the bonfire. I am making sure that I keep the energy going for us today, especially if we were in person, it'd be a whole different thing. So definitely want to make it feel like while you are sitting there, I am sitting there right in front of you, talking right with you and having a good time. So what is going to take place next? We are a little bit earlier in our time, snap, but to keep the fire going and keeping things lit up, I am excited to get the fire started. We are now, what I'm so excited is going to have an open mic poem. We are going to open with a spoken word piece from one of our own amazing igniters. Her name is Judaline Prophet, and she is going to be sharing an amazing word today, a poem entitled A Creation of Their Own Making. And may I just share really quickly about this amazing young woman? Just her energy, very sweet, very kind, and it's such an honor for her to kick off our symposium. I think bringing youth voice and incorporating youth voice is very important, and our igniters are change makers. They are leaders, and so for Judaline to be the one to kick us off today, representing her program out of the Boston Police Department's Bureau of Community Engagement, the GROW program, Girls Reflecting Our World, I would love to bring Judaline up to share her poem with us. So, bittersweetly, our amazing young lady, we are trying to connect with her, and she is not, we are not able to connect in this moment. So what I am going to do is bless you all with a poem to get the energy rejujued, get us back into the groove. Thank you so much for your patience. This piece that I will share with us today is entitled Gold, and it's greatness overflowing, and it stands for a leader in dialogue. And what good way to think about our igniters, who are definitely leaders, leading as change makers, not the leaders of our future, but the leaders now. So we want to give our presence now so that they are ready to launch when they move forward. So this piece is entitled Gold. Busting out, I'm free. Slave no more to status quo. Peace superficial. I have to be the change I want to see. I have to define that internally, prove it through my actions externally. That's where the pressure begins, you see. A star shines bright, but they want to dim me. Afraid of what can be done with nobility. They want to define my identity. Can't break through my walls of integrity. I'm coming at full blast intensity. Being status quo is suicide to me. I was created to be productive, to define my purpose without being productive, to define my spirit without being productive. Forfeiting my spirit, this world can forget it. I'm going to continue on this journey with dignity and grace, but they want me to live in fear that they have the power to erase. So in the morning when I wake up, I won't recognize my face. Control all thoughts until robotically replaced. A pet rat in a maze that is trained to obey. Something kind of like back in the day, but a new and improved version labeled new era slave. For every move that I make, I'm on radar for debate. Must have forgotten, so let me translate. I'm not one of the fishes waiting for the bait. I pay attention to history and its hidden traits. The world doesn't have the power to control my fate. I was born to be free, not fighting to escape from the chains that you place on my ever-growing brain. So I have no idea what it's like to be sane. So I play this game through someone else's place. So I'll end up forgotten, thrown into cold space. I'm given all the tools to keep my eyes closed. Taught to be a puppet who lives on strings of four. But this pride tune is getting turned up louder than before, causing me to awake to change the course of this force. No longer to be constrained, so I'm signing for a divorce. I'm not to be sold. I'm breaking free from your hold. I'm gold. Yes, we are all gold. Give me some fire. Give me some life. Let me know if you are igniting your fire today. Yes, we are going to keep it going. Keep the energy up. You are all gold. We are all greatness. And this is so important, an important message for today's F.Y.R.E Symposium, especially during this time. We are all resilient. We have managed to bump through some of these bumps and hurdles and overcome some of these obstacles. So please know you are doing the best that you can in this moment. And as my amazing supervisor always reminds me, it's about excellence and how you want to be the best version of yourself. So make sure you are keeping your fire ignited. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So as we are in our space where we're going to transition into our remarks, now that the fire is ignited, we are going to hear from some amazing dynamic women. We have YW Boston's president and CEO, Beth Chandler, who is going to open and share and speak to our igniters and talk about some good things, drop some of those wood. We're going to drop some wood up in the fire today. I'm going to try to keep the puns coming with the fire and fire. A fierce you, reigniting excellence. So just know that we are all in this space being our fierce selves and talking about what it means to reignite excellence, especially as we are sharing our experiences of COVID-19. Followed by, we are going to have Commission Shaisha Sparrell of the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women join us here today. I am really, really, really excited to have a member from MCSW come on through and join and speak to our igniters today. We need that, so thank you for being here. And we are going to close with Representative Liz Miranda, who I love and adore on a personal note, just growing up in the community of Roxbury and Dorchester and what it means to give back to your community. I love the idea of just being here to speak to our igniters, to get them ignited, get them fired up and ready to go. So in a minute, we are going to transfer right on over into our remarks. And so in the meantime, Let's jam one more time to an amazing song while we get the transitions going. Thank you. That's right, running the world. Now that we are running the world and in the mood and knows what it is about, I am going to introduce our president and CEO, Beth Chandler, to join us and open up some amazing remarks for today. Beth, thank you.
Hey, Tiela. Good morning, everybody. It's so great to be here, and it's a tough act to follow Tiela and Beyonce, but I'm going to try to do it. And Tiela, I really loved the poem that you recited, and really one of the lines that stuck out to me is status quo is suicide. I think that is just so powerful. Again, I'm Beth Chandler, President and CEO of YW Boston, and I'm thrilled to join everyone today for our first F.Y.R.E Symposium. So excited to be here. About 3 years ago, YW Boston went through major change, and we took a critical look at Greater Boston and asked ourselves, how could we make a difference in the lives, particularly of women, people of color, and especially women of color. And one of the things that came out of that for us is that there was a gap for girls of color, particularly middle school girls of color in Boston, and we felt that we could fill that gap. And that's how we got to our F.Y.R.E initiative. We began that because we believe in the change that girls can lead when they have the power to build a sense of identity, understand existing inequities, and become empowered to work together. And we've come a long way since igniting that program or launching that program in 2019. I'm so excited with the F.Y.R.E and igniting language. I'm going to try to weave it in any way that I can. I want to congratulate everyone involved in this program for creating space for us today. Tiela Grimes and Kiana Luce, our two F.Y.R.E initiative staff members, have done an extraordinary job building, igniting a spark within our students. And really, they could not have done this without the students who have dedicated their time and work to be a part of the F.Y.R.E initiative. If you don't know, we refer to our F.Y.R.E initiative students as igniters because they are sparking change in their schools and in their communities, and quite frankly, in all of us. As it is the igniters who I want to speak to today, since this event is really focused on you. We are honored that you have joined us and participated in F.Y.R.E this year, and on all that you've accomplished this year. All of us could benefit from the symposium, but again, we're really excited to learn from you. And I know that this year has been a really challenging year. You've been physically separated from your friends, from your mentors. You've been spending a lot of time in virtual class and on Zoom, which is exhausting. And it was hard to know when you would even be able to return to class. And I'm a mom with two kids, one who's 14 and one's 11. And so I've seen both the mental, the emotional toll that COVID has taken on them. And so, I can't imagine what you've been through this year. It's just been really, really challenging. And it's a credit that through all of this and through your hard work, this strange year that we've had, you're graduating from the F.Y.R.E initiative. And I've loved hearing from Tiela and Kiana about your time together, how you kept your energy up with dance parties, by cheering each other on, and by working hard to impact your communities through your community action projects. I know that your participation in the F.Y.R.E initiative is just the start of how you will make change in your schools and in Boston. And I can't wait to see where you go from here. Igniters, I encourage you to leverage the connections that you make today in the virtual space. There are people here today from all parts of Greater Boston that are ready to hear what you have to say. You introduce yourselves, create relationships that will continue to grow and build as you become even more leaders in everything that you do. And to the adults in the room, it is your responsibility to lean into today's activities. There is so much that we can learn from these intergenerational discussions, and so many young people you can partner with. This is why I believe so much in what we were doing at YW Boston. We are creating spaces for these conversations that move our communities forward and that really help to connect women across generations. Congratulations again to our igniters for your completion of the F.Y.R.E initiative. And thank you all for joining us here today. I hope that you enjoy hearing from my fellow speakers and taking part in today's activities. Thank you so much.
There we go. Thank you so much, Beth, for your amazing words. Igniters, keep it lit. Keep your fire ignited. Keep it going. It's important. And I hope you take away a beautiful message from what Beth shared with us, shared with you, not just with us, yes, with you today as well, because it's really important for you. Next, I'm going to bring Commissioner Shaisha Sparrell. Yay! Perfect time. You come at the perfect moment when the beat drops. Thank you so much for joining us today, Commissioner Shaisha Sparrell.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties this morning. But again, my name is Shaitia Sparrell. I'm a commissioner. I'm also the chair of the Legislative and Public Policy Committee, where I get to learn about the issues that are impacting women and girls, and then go and find and listen to advocate for policy that will improve the lives of women and girls across the Commonwealth, girls like you and me. I'm so excited to be here with you all. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you to the YW. But I have to be honest, when I was thinking about my remarks and what I was going to talk to y'all about, I was like, what do they want to hear from little old me? Like, I'm still trying to figure this out too. So that's just a testament to show that, like, even though we are all leaders and change makers here, a lot of the time we're still learning as we go, and we're learning from each other on the way up. So I wanted to share a couple of valuable things that I've learned in my short time with the commission, but also in the 27 years of my life. And that is a couple of things. That self-advocacy is the best thing that you can do for yourself, the best thing that you can do for your community and your family and all of the people that you love and care about. Self-advocacy is what brought me to my work and on the commission and at the treasurer's office. And it was actually a struggle within my own personal life of being a teen mom that forced me out of my comfort zone. And then I had to start advocating for myself. I had a little boy to take care of. So I kind of learned how to advocate for myself by accident. But for the rest of my life, I'm intentionally using that skill and refining it and being better, always being a better advocate for myself and my sisters and my homegirls. Self-advocacy is something that you can do now. We know the commission has hosted several girls listening sessions, surveys, and things like that, where we're hearing from girls like you that are looking for sisterhood. They're craving opportunities to connect with others and build support networks and build together. We know that COVID came through and rocked our worlds, and the only person that can really advocate best for you is gonna be you. So seek opportunities like the F.Y.R.E. Symposium here today to connect with other young women like yourselves, but also connect with the older women and the other generations that are here to support you and help you grow. Because there's nothing better than being in sisterhood and being able to create change with those that you care about the most. These relationships will then launch you into the change that you want to see, which brings me to my next point and my second lesson, and that is leading change does more than help you. It inspires you. And I don't know if Rep Miranda's on yet and listening, but she's literally an inspiration that I saw, and I was like, whoa, I want to be like her. Like, she's dope. Literally, I see myself in her, and that was just a whole other, like, that change to the steakhouse was something that inspired me to then go, okay, now I have to advocate. Now I have to make myself to come into the rooms and advocate for my homegirls behind me that I'm trying to reach back and bring up with me, you know? So seeing her has inspired me to leverage my advocacy and create change. And I know that if more little Black and brown girls and young women see themselves like I saw myself in Rep Miranda, those girls are gonna start advocating as well. And they're gonna come run for office and be able to write legislation, and like the whole world is just gonna be so much better. So such a better place. We're in a transformational time. COVID, yes, has presented a lot of challenges, but it's also presented us a lot of opportunities to connect across the state virtually. I'm actually from Springfield. I live in Clinton now, which is in Worcester County, for those of you who never heard of it. But I would have never been able to do this without COVID coming and making everybody go virtual, go remote, to be completely frank with y'all. So I'm grateful for the silver linings that have come out of that. But it also has allowed the space for me to collaborate and build with other leaders and build on those intergenerational relationships that were key to my success and my learning and opportunities. And as you do this, you start to refine those skills and level up yourself, really. But I only learned that after befriending older women in the work, in the community organizing space, teachers that felt like aunties, counselors and healthy families, home visitors that would connect with me and listen to my story and then say, okay, these are the resources and this is how you, and teaching me how to navigate and use my skills to build and create change. I used to look to these mentors and friends whenever I have a question, I need advice, guidance, and support. I can't tell you how much I've leaned into my support networks and mentors since COVID, but I want to leave that with you all. I want you all to encourage each other to get mentors and just be there for each other and collaborate. I hope that if you take anything away, it's that you're going to reach up, reach out, reach back, reach across, and connect and vibe with that girl that you met at the F.Y.R.E Symposium or through YWCA or at school and in your social networks, and then connect beyond that and connect with the younger ones, the younger generations behind you, but also the generations that built the blueprint. Use this space and time here today in sisterhood to absorb and connect with us older folk. You know, like, I'm going to drop my contact information. I'm sure you can see my LinkedIn and Facebook pages on my profile. Reach out to me. I want to be your support. I want to help build the next generation of leaders and support you in whatever you need in your leadership, because I got the blueprint from my mentors. I'm trying to hand it off to you so we can go ahead and make this change and take over the world. All right. So remember, build those relationships, learn and harness your skills, hone your skills on self-advocacy, and be the change that you want to inspire others to be and do. Thank you again to the YW so much. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your time today.
Thank you. And my apologies. I'm a name stickler, just a little bit. So Saitia, thank you so much for coming on board and sharing your word with us today. I love it. The reach back, reach across, reach out, reach forward. It's just so important. I know for me today, I would not be here where I'm at today if it wasn't to have some amazing women along the way to kind of be those guides and pass me the torch to keep igniting and keeping the fire lit and keeping things going. So I love it. Next up, we are going to have Representative Liz Miranda join us. And so I have this amazing, have Liz pop up and come and join. Thank you so much for being here today, Queen.
Good morning, Igniters. I can't see everyone. And good morning to all the other participants and panel hosts. And thanks to the YW for just doing amazing work for racial and gender justice in the city of Boston. I'm very tired today because yesterday something really amazing happened in my life. And so I've decided to throw away my remarks and really speak from the heart. So yesterday, I was the commencement speaker for Wellesley College. And 19 years ago, I graduated from Wellesley as a first-generation college student. But 24 years ago, I graduated from the John D. O'Brien School of Math and Science here in Boston. My two brothers were in jail. I had lived in Roxbury off Dudley Street my entire life. It's actually where I live now. And my mom and me had kind of grown up together. And we grew up together because my mom had me at 18 and my birth father wasn't in my life. But the summer I graduated high school, my birth father, who had been in and out of my life, but not very consistent, was also incarcerated and then deported. And so I got this letter in the mail that I got into this really prestigious school. It was only 10 miles away. And I was scared. I was afraid. I had been working 2 jobs at O'Brien to get money to save up for school. I had been working really hard to get good grades, and I was top 10 in my class. I was an athlete. I was active in student government. I was tired. I was really tired, and I really felt that I needed to go to college to get out of my hood and make something of myself and make my family proud, because my mom dropped out in junior year to have me and has been a cook in Boston's hotels. I say that story because yesterday, someone gave me one of the best honors of my life. I was speaking to 600 plus students, all of them very different. Some of them who came from circumstances like mine, and others who were wealthy, came from great schools. Some who are transitioning, were at a women's college, but really transitioning into who really they believe they were. And I sat on that stage and realized that I was now one of only 16 Black women to ever speak at Wellesley's commencement, and the first Black alum. And here I was, a girl who didn't even like being at that college. That college to me made me feel like a minority. It made me feel deficient. I felt not smart enough. And throughout college, I worked 2 to 3 jobs too to keep paying for school. So I was always tired. I was always at work and trying to navigate being a student and also helping me and my family. I say all of that because if you had asked me when I was 10 or 15 where life would take me, they surely, the heavens would not have told me that I would be an elected official, that I would be speaking at the commencement of the college that I worked so hard to get into and to survive through, and now have a legacy of something very historical. And my life has not been a crystal stair. There's a poet, Langston Hughes, and I like to think that I'm a kind of half poet myself. And I remember reading that poem about life not being a crystal stair and thinking to myself, why was life so hard for me? My mom worked 16-hour days, waking up at 3 a.m. every day of my life. And so I was raised by my grandmother and her sisters. They couldn't speak English, so they spoke to me in Cape Verdean Creole almost exclusively. And my grandmother would watch novellas because Spanish was the closest thing to Portuguese and Creole. And in the novellas, I would see a world that was very different than what I saw outside my window. My community had a lot of empty, vacant land, had a lot of violence. It didn't seem like the rest of the city cared. It was like a trash bin. Everywhere I went, there was something being dumped. There was a lawn or a tree not being manicured. And for most of my life, I wanted to leave. I wanted to get out. I wanted to save myself. And then one day it clicked on me after another tragedy. In 2017, my brother Michael was killed outside of a Boston nightclub. And I felt a lot of shame and a lot of grief. If I'm talking to anyone here today that's listening about when you've had your back against the wall or been really sad about something, I was paralyzed by the fact that I had spent a lot of time in the city of Boston doing good things. I did everything everyone ever told me, go to college, get a degree, give back, and I couldn't save my own brother. And I say all that because sometimes when people get in conferences that are leaders like myself, we tend to give a lot of advice. And we tend to use our story to try to share with people how to make it. And I want to divert from that to share the message that I shared with those students at Wellesley yesterday that has been my saving grace. I have been an elected official for 30 months. Some days I don't know how I even did it, But my brother's death pushed me. It like built this movement inside of me where I wanted more and I wanted to do better. And I wanted to do more and I wanted better. And I wanted better for everyone around me so that no one would have to go through this. And so I realized that the state house is where they made laws, and there was only one Black woman in the state house. And I was like, she needs company. And I don't know where I got the strength, where I got the passion to run for office, raise money, and change the way that the state house looked. Today, there are 4 Black women. It's not enough. I'm one of 14 Black women to ever be in the Massachusetts State House in its 386-year history. So 386 years, only 14 Black and Latinx women have ever served. And when I add my AAPI sisters, there's only a handful there with 3 or 4. And so today I want to share with you 4 or 5 messages, and I really want to thank her for speaking my name before she spoke, because the commissioner, what she needs to realize is I'm inspired by her, that whenever we step into our own power, we actually become what we'd like to see. When I was growing up, there were phenomenal people around, but I didn't see enough of them. I didn't see enough Carolyn Crockett's. I saw one. And she mentored me and loved me and taught me a lot. And so the messages that I want to leave with you today are not how to get into office. If you want to have some tea or juice or coffee, we could talk about that offline, and I'll leave my email because we can talk anytime. I'll leave my cell phone number. I talk to anyone that wants to talk to me. But I want to talk about how to keep the fire ignited in your life to push through really hard times. I went through a lot. I went through abuse when I was a child because my mom was always working. And it took me 25 years to share with people that I had been abused. And I spoke actually to a group of young girls at Newton North High School and finally decided to tell my own truth. And I decided to tell my own truth because in that room, I saw young girls who looked like me, who were desperate to have someone tell them the truth. And the truth is that life will be hard. You won't always have what you need. But if you stay focused on your dreams and know the following things, you'll achieve great things. And one of them is that you're worthy, you're enough, and you belong. You are worthy, you are enough, and you belong. And I say that to myself every day when I walk into the State House, a predominantly male, white space where folks represent towns and cities that know nothing of what it's like to live in a place like Roxbury and Dorchester. And I look at the walls, and the walls are the same walls that were at Wellesley, where I didn't see anybody on the wall that looked like me. In fact, there's only one person that looks like me, former Governor Deval Patrick, on the walls in the State House. Other than that, nobody looks like me. And so I want you to know that you're worthy and enough and you belong, because when you are going through school, going through work, you're tired, things happen that are tragic in your life and you're not sure what to do, you need to be reminded that anything is possible if you believe in yourself. The second thing I wanted to share is to ask yourself, why not you? As life started to give me more and more opportunity, I've gotten into leadership, and I asked myself, like, why me all the time? Why me? Why am I chosen? Why was, after my brother's death, why did I even run for office? And I beat 4 men and I set a record and I won every ward and precinct, which is important in politics, where people live. And I want you to actually change that and ask yourself, why not you? Why can't it be you to be the first? Why can't it be you that opens the door? Why can't it be you that challenges your school or your workplace? Why can't it be you that challenges your family to do better and want more, and even challenge yourself? But the other message I want to share is to take care of yourself. COVID-19 impacted our communities in a real way. That grandmother that raised me died in April of 2020 when my family, all 20-something of us, got COVID-19, and my grandmother, who was 84, couldn't survive. I thought again, what was I going to do? She was my everything. And I lost my brother. I've lost my grandmother. I've lost so many friends and family. And I realized in that moment of grief that it was okay to say no. It was okay to rest. There are no awards for being the most overworked and overwhelmed person. We need to cancel grind culture. And in that moment, I let myself be free and cry and be sad and use the lessons that my grandmother taught me to keep pushing on. So I want to encourage you to know that you're worthy enough and you belong, to ask yourself, why not you? But to also rest and take care of yourself and always choose you. Always choose you. If you're feeling uncomfortable in a situation, if you're not sure what to do next, and a million people are telling you to go to college, and a million people are telling you to take that AP class, and a million people are telling you to do XYZ and put pressure on you, remember that your gut and your heart speak to you, and they'll tell you actually what you deserve and what you need. And I've set myself a fire, and I hope you guys ignite yourself every day to keep pushing yourself, to keep reminding yourself that there is nothing that you want to contribute the world, that the world would not open up for you to be able to contribute. So I want you to say to each other that you love each other and you love yourself, and keep working. I'm here for you. And I know all of the folks involved with the F.Y.R.E program and YW. And actually, there's one more thing. I don't want to forget this. When it was quoted that status quo is suicide, I thought about when people use the word advocacy and they ask people to advocate for themselves, and we're asking you today to speak up. Know that you can speak even if your voice is shaking. And Audre Lorde, a great speaker, author, and feminist, once said that speaking is important to tell people your truth. But even if it's uncomfortable or inconvenient or it's hard, remember that you can stand in the power of your own truth. And so we need to hear from you in the State House. We need to hear from you in City Hall, to hear that we need to do better for BIPOC people, immigrants, poor people, girls, and those in the LGBTQIA community. And unless we hear from you, we don't know that we should be doing more and better. So thank you all, and I hope you have a great conference. And I loved YW, and so I'm here for the long haul in this sibhood.
Representative Liz Miranda, thank you for your words, for your story, for sharing, for especially to the young ladies that we serve. You know, our program is built and centered on the voices of Black and brown girls and their experiences. So being able to have you here today and share is really, really important. So remember, young ladies, it's real. You are worthy, you are enough, and you belong. Thank you. We are going to continue our flow. In this moment, I just want to say, stretch, move your body, move it up. I know we've been sitting here grooving with each other. We're going to have a little more dance party in a little bit. But what I would love to do is introduce this next amazing soul who is going to, first of all, let me run that back. Thank you to all of our amazing speakers who gave remarks today. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Shaitia. Thank you, Liz. Thank you so much for amplifying the beginning portions of our time together to get us ignited. We are going to have our amazing keynote speaker, Portia Blunt, the VP of Apparel at Reeboks, join us. So she is going to queue up and join me on the screen. I am so excited to have her here with us today. And yay! And as you can see, we got the yellow, we got that gold, it's popping, the greatness is overflowing. Yeah. So thank you so much for being here today. I am going to pass the torch to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so excited to be with all of you today. I wanted to first off just say thank you to the YW team. Really have been sitting, watching and listening to all the great speakers, and have just been so just really ignited, not to overuse the phrase here, and fired up by everything that I've been hearing. And I just really am excited to be here with you and thinking about the invitation. And what I'm bringing to the bonfire today is gratitude, because the invitation to come and speak with you, I could not pass it up. And I'm excited and truly really basking in the privilege to spend this time with each and every one of you today. So, I'm reflecting on what Representative Miranda shared with us, and it was such powerful, powerful testimony. And, in terms of her journey and reflection on her experience, and the words and were so powerful. And I hope that you all really sit in that, because it's a testament to what you'll see here today, right? You have me, you have Representative Miranda, you have Beth, you have all of these amazing, amazing women in front of you who all have very unique stories and unique journeys that they have embarked upon. And that is the beauty of who we are as a people, who we are as women of color, that we bring to the table something unique and special, no matter who we are and where we are. So I'm going to share a couple of things with you today, and I would appreciate you all just indulging me a little bit. I'm going to walk you through, kind of give you a sense of who I am, where I come from, and talk to you a little bit about just kind of all of the things that, your program has really inspired in me. And think about, goodness, you are so, so lucky to have reaped the benefit of an amazing legacy of YW Boston and the F.Y.R.E program. So I'm going to share my screen with you all, and bear with me, because of course I'm going to make this more difficult than it probably needs to be, but we're going to go with it a little bit here. All right. Let me know if you guys can see this. All right. If you can see all of these pictures here, this is my family, and these are my heartbeats that I've kind of I've alluded here. You see my husband, my sons, my mother, and my father, and I wanted to share this with you to really, really share and say there are so many people and ingredients in your life that make you who you are and carry you on your journey. And that is not just you, that's every one of us. And so this is what makes up who I am. So my journey to where I am today, which is an ongoing one, is a lot of pivots, and it's one that, is very different from many others. I am a daughter of a United States Marine. And so I grew up all over the world. I was born in Copenhagen, Denmark, and I lived in 7 different places, cities, states, countries, and had 11 moves by the time I graduated from high school. That in and of itself is a challenge, right? Learning to adapt, learning to figure out who you are and embrace cultures every time you have to pick up and restart. I can imagine that so many of you have probably experienced something similar, or completely opposite and not experienced it at all. And let me tell you, it was definitely a learning. As I continued through, I landed in Japan with my family as a teenager. Coming out of middle school, I went into high school in Japan, completely out of depth, didn't know the language, didn't know up from down. I mean, can you imagine being in 9th grade and you're leaving all of your friends and now you're in a foreign country? Well, that was my world. And I didn't even get to stay there the whole 4 years. I ended up leaving the middle of my junior year in high school and coming back to the United States. And I can tell you now that I have a teenage son who's 15, I don't know how my parents endured me having to transition, leaving an amazing high school experience and having to start all over. But the strength of who we are, each of you have it in you, really comes to life when you are put up to the test, right? When your back's against the wall, when the challenges are in front of you. And that's what I did. I embraced it. I tried really hard to find all of the good in a really kind of horrible situation in my mind. And it worked out. It worked out for me. And I graduated from high school in Northern Virginia. And I went off to college. And I was really struck by Representative Miranda sharing her story about her commencement address and attending Wellesley. And, you know, it really not an uncommon story in that although my journey was a little bit different, I really related to what she was sharing in terms of being an only, right? Feeling as though you are on the outskirts. I went to Virginia Tech, which is a predominantly white institution. And so at the time in 1998, when I walked onto that campus, the percentage of Black students, minority students, was so low that I could probably count on my hand my first year on campus how many times I was in a class with a student that looked like me. And when you think about that there were 26,000 students at Virginia Tech at that time, and the population of Black students was less than 5%. At the time, we were at 4.3. It is daunting to think that that was the reality. And so that was a major struggle for me in understanding where I fit, where I belonged, the notion of inclusion when you really are feeling as though you're lonely on an island. And I learned very quickly how to create community. You know, I realized after I graduated that all of the things that I learned in my journeys and my time growing up within the military culture served me very well because I learned how to create family. I learned how to create community with my friends and my professors and my advisors and mentors on campus that to this day, 20 plus years later, are still a big part of who I am and a part of my life. While I was there at Virginia Tech, I met my husband as a freshman, and that in turn was the pivotal point for me in kind of creating that next step and path for me in my life. And as I was there at Virginia Tech, I decided to focus my efforts and my degree on fashion and clothing and textiles. And so once I graduated, I moved on in my journey to become a clothing designer for the United States Marine Corps. Now, I say that in meaning I was not a Marine. But I did work for the Marine Corps and I designed uniforms. And I have this picture on here underneath my journey. If you see those Marines there, there is a gentleman, the only Black Marine there in that back in the camouflage is my father. And he really was a big inspiration to me. And it felt like I was putting on a glove that fit perfectly, where I was able to marry my passion for fashion and clothing, and then step into something that I've always known very comfortably, which was the military. And I did that for 8 years. I was able to work on amazing projects like the uniforms you see there, two of which were projects that I worked on as a young designer. And then from there, I was approached by a colleague I was working on a project with to come to private industry with New Balance and lead their military division, which at that time I was 27 years old. And I thought to myself, wow, you can't be thinking about me. You must be thinking about someone else. And he said to me, no, I see your work. I see how you move. I see how you think. And it's a freshness that I've never seen before. And I think that you could really fit really well within our organization. And that was the first time I took a really scary leap without a safety net, without having a path that I had already kind of planned for myself strategically. And that was my first pivot. And I pivoted and I took a leap of faith and went to New Balance, and that charted my career in the industry that I am in today. And because of that, I have been able to really learn how to make decisions that are best for me and that I feel comfortable with and that I want to kind of connect my passion to. And I was afforded the ability to do that. And I was there at New Balance for 13 years and most recently transitioned over to Reebok, where I've transitioned into one of the biggest roles I've ever had in my career. And I have to say, again, had one of those moments where when I was approached and offered the opportunity to become vice president in an industry where not very many people look like me in senior leadership, not very many people look like me at all in any of the spaces that I am frequenting. But yet we service and serve a community that looks just like me. And so it is never lost on me in terms of what my role is and what my contribution is within the work that I do. And I say that to be that everyone has a contribution to make, every one of us. And so if I had only known that growing up, so this is a picture of me when I was a little girl, and then to the far right is me in college. And if I had known what I know now, that I don't have to have a dialed plan, that I don't ever have to have all of the answers, that I just really truly need to be myself and be comfortable being myself, everything else will work out. Everything else will come into play, and everyone will wrap themselves around me and really cheerlead. And that's important. That's really important for you igniters, because there are a lot of things coming at you right now. We're in a world that is so uncertain. We're in a world where there's so much noise happening around you that with COVID-19, social unrest, things happening globally that, you don't know if you should be paying attention or if you should, really lean in. That in and of itself is a testament to the strength of who each and every one of you are. Because I can't imagine being in your shoes today, feeling very confused and really stressed about trying to find your way, but then also having the stress of the world on your shoulders. And so I would really encourage each of you, as I encourage my own children and I encourage myself and my teams. Again, what I've heard so consistently today is give yourself space to take care of yourself, prioritize yourself, because without that, nothing else really will happen. Nothing else will really matter, because you end up being so stressed out and beaten down. And I have to think about and reflect on this last year and a half of COVID-19 and all of the changes and all of the adaptations that we've had to make. But I also know and have been able to reflect on, through all the dark, there is light, right? And so I often look at things in a way where I try to pull out what are the positives and what have I been able to learn from a very challenging, hard situation. And I'd encourage us to do that about the last 18 months. COVID-19 has been a very dark time, but I know we are embarking on a really bright light. And each of you are shepherds in that. You all are leading that way. And so we take all of that energy into the light, and we want to reimagine, and we are able to reignite and take the learnings of what it has felt like to be overcome with challenges and figure out what we can do with it and how we can inspire. And that's what I really have been able to walk away from in terms of what COVID-19 has meant to me. So I say all of that in terms of what advice could I possibly offer each and every one of you. Really, I challenged myself and I was saying, really not much. I don't know what kind of advice I could give you. But when I started to think about it, you all are the change makers. And so I would say, let your passion ignite your path and plan for the future. Because that, and at the end, if you aren't finding happiness in what you're doing and who you're surrounded with, none of it, nothing will ever matter. So I'm going to leave you on that in terms of the shared screen. But I wanted to say, again, more importantly, you all are on a journey that I could only dream about and imagine as 10-year-old, as a 13-year-old, as a 15-year-old. And the tribe that you all have elected to be a part of is phenomenal. And that tribe, when you surround yourself with resourceful, powerful, imaginative, inspiring people, whether they're your friends or your mentors or program leaders, your tribe will ensure that you thrive in whatever you do. And so I'm inspired by that. I'm inspired by each and every one of you. And I often think about what Dorothy Height once said, that African American women are often carrying and bearing the weight of so much, and don't have much in terms of being able to get a chance to rest. And so when we think about that, and when we think about what she said, we are special women, and we seldom do what we seldom do what we want to do, but we always do what we have to do. Think about that. Think about that legacy she has created for you all at YW. In that, when you have that powerful, supportive tribe around you, you have no choice but to grow and to thrive. And when you think about leadership, no one's born a leader, not one of us, but we are all born with the opportunity and the aptitude to be leaders. And you all have positioned yourselves in an amazing way, where you have no choice but to use the tools that have been presented to you and modeled in front of you by the strong leaders that you have in this program, whether it's Beth, whether it's Tayella, whether it's Representative Miranda, whoever it is in your family, your mother, your aunts, your cousins, your friends. Think of that and lean in on what they're showing you and representing and modeling for you, that you are able to do that in your world and in the world, in the environment you're in today. So I'm going to close here. I'm actually giving us a little extra time, but closing here with a big thank you and how much you all have ignited the fire in me and inspired me. And thank you so much for welcoming me into this amazing, amazing tribe of igniters, and encouraged by everything that I'm seeing. And thank you. And please reach out. And I'm always excited about speaking with and learning from everyone that's here today. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Portia, for joining us today. I loved your slides because we have an amazing group that we did a vision board with. So I see some of the amazing souls in the chat, and I was just remembering our session with them and how excited it was for them to create their vision boards and talk through their visions and what they hope for themselves. And so to really see you document your journey in that way, this was that spoke to the power of that session with them, and in them being able to present their vision boards and the excitement that was taking place. So thank you so much for coming through today and letting our igniters know that to let your passion ignite your path and your plan for your future. That is very important. And coming from a full circle experience myself as a part of a young person in the programs at YW Boston, coming back as after I graduated college, and now being in this role, I remember telling my mentor, who was the supervisor at the time, I'm coming for your job. Because at the time when I was younger, it was like, I want to do this forever. I want to work with young people. This is amazing. And so thank you for allowing me to kind of go down my own memory lane and think about how I got to where I'm at in this journey, in this point of my life, and just to continue to dream, because it's always little destinations along the spot. And so to look at those destinations and see what jewels and nuggets that you were able to take from that is definitely beautiful to showcase where you are here, where you are in this moment right now. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you.
Yes. So you amazing souls, I hope you are fired up. I hope you are feeling good. We are a little bit early in our program, so what that will mean is it's just a small adjustment. We are getting ready to kind of break into our 10-minute transition. During this time, I'm going to encourage you, grab something to eat, take a screen break, stretch your body, use the restroom, do what you need. We're going to put our music on. We're going to have our playlist going. But this is a great, great time to just take a moment to take care of yourself. And when we transition back from our intermission, we are going to have our young women's panel come and speak and keep the fire going. Yes, I'm going to hit all those puns today. They're probably going to be overused, but it's okay. Why? Because it's fire. It's about a fierce youth reigniting excellence, and even the program is fierce youth, and even within youth, it's you. It's about you at the core. So please make sure you are taking care of yourself. If you have any questions, please reach out to any of the staff members. Chat us up. This space is going to remain like this, so the music is going. You could turn you don't have to worry about turning your camera or your mic on or off. So you don't have to worry about that piece. So we're going to put some music on, take care of yourself, and we are going to regroup. We are at 12:23. So I'm going to say 12. You at that time, we'll say 12:35, 12:35. We're going to come back, check in, come together, and then begin to move forward with the rest of our programming. Thank you. Good afternoon, and we are back. I hope that you had a moment to stretch your bones, grab something to eat, take care of yourself. We are it's a beautiful day. It's important to take care of yourself. We are getting ready to transition to our panelist speakers. I'm really excited for this conversation that is about to take place. We are going to begin to have a discussion about social and emotional wellness and how Black and Brown girls are navigating taking care of themselves during the pandemic. It has definitely been a time where we are all collectively trying to adapt and adjust in the best way possible, and the unknowns become known while the unknowns are becoming known. So today we are having here with us Janelle Loris, who is a mental health counselor, a loving mother, a visual artist, a musician. We have Sydney Stewart, program coordinator at Facing History in Ourselves, and a YW Boston Advocacy Committee member, and has volunteered with the F.Y.R.E program. So I'm really excited to have her here joining us today. Akita Hunter, college advisor at Tech Boston Academy, working with College Advising Corps through Boston University. Kaylin McInnes, a F.Y.R.E alum, sophomore at Blue Hills Regionals, a part of the Boston Police Department Bureaus of Community Engagement GROW program, Girls Reflecting Our World. And so I'm really excuse me, a little drum moment. Really excited for these ladies to be here with us today. And I know we are waiting for another amazing soul who's going to pop up and join us. So as that is being worked out from behind the scenes, I am so excited to have you all here. And I am spoiled because I know all of you. So I love to say that I get to know you all in a very different way than what we are doing here today, but you get to share a piece of you, get to share a little bit about your voice, your perspective. And so the first person that I am going to kick it off, we're going to open up with and kind of just jump right into is talking about, and you letting me know your definition of how you would define mental health. And so I'm going to pass the torch to Kaylin.
I'd probably describe mental health as how you feel emotionally and on the inside rather than just your physical appearance.
Hi, can you hear me, first of all? Okay, good. It's good to be here. I think that The first thing that came to mind for me is that mental health is an interconnected thing. So I feel like something I've been thinking about a lot of late is just how mental health is so connected to spiritual well-being, to physical well-being, to emotional well-being. It's like this multifaceted thing. I think we understand like the mental aspect of things as being about like the brain, right? The mind, like how are you doing? How are you feeling, as Kaylin mentioned? But I also have been thinking a lot about how it feels to me like something that's deeper, and it's about like, you know, it's about that thing of like being in accord almost with yourself, like mind, body, and spirit for me personally. So yeah, I would say that it is this interconnected, multifaceted thing.
Thank you. Akita.
Hi, first I want to say thank you very much for having me here today. Thank you all for being here today and igniting my soul also throughout this entire presentation today. But mental health for me, kind of to highlight on what Sydney said, is like the kind of that interconnected piece, but that mental health being like that building block to make sure that I am successful in those other places. So my social and my mental being like that building block, that first level to make sure that I can be socially and spiritually successful all otherwise. So mental health is my building block.
Janaire.
Peace, everybody. Blessed Saturday. It's beautiful outside. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, T, for inviting me. This is amazing. To answer your question, mental health to me, so it's a condition of your mental. It's a state of being free from illness and injury. And, you know, when all your basic needs are met, and that's when you are, in my mind, mentally, physically, spiritually healthy. So you have the psychological needs that are met, your safety needs are met. You feel loved, you feel like you belong to family, society. Your self-esteem is up to par. You have a really good image of self, and you have self-actualization that goes into the spirituality piece as well. And when you are mentally in a healthy space, you have the capacity to be present, exercise emotional intelligence, check in with yourself and articulate your feelings, know and understand your power and your gifts, understand and exercise accountability and forgiveness, to be able to focus, problem solve, advocate for yourself, say no when you feel unsafe, honor and express healthy imagination, creativity, appreciate the silence, appreciate peace, know peace, understand the benefits of solitude, feel and release negative emotions in a healthy manner, manage the way you respond and behave in times of conflict, cope in a healthy manner, adjust to changes, know that you are enough and are loved, and to live as such, and have a healthy sense of self. And lastly, to know when to ask for help.
Thank you to all that and more. You know, if this was Zoom, I would be having the hearts on the screen, the celebration, and what you've shared. It really speaks to when we heard remarks earlier from Representative Liz Miranda, and just speaking about resting and taking care of yourself. And so I love when you spoke to just the piece on silence and really being in that, which is so important. Thank you all, because everything that you've highlighted, especially when we're looking at being, you amazing souls, looking at being young women, young Black and brown women of today. You know, historically, we were thinking about Black women voices and thinking about self-care. You know, that has always been kind of last on the list. And so we're really talking about some generational things that have manifested or have taken place. And now being in the space of where we are with COVID-19 and thinking about it, everything, it's really important to really consider what is the state of our mental health and our mental wellness, and how can we begin to take care of ourselves during this time even more so. So thank you. So to keep the fire going, I would like to ask, you know, what are the most common barriers to students seeking support around mental health? and how can they combat them, especially during this time with school. Speaking with some of our igniters, and the MCAS for them was stressful, and getting ready to take the MCAS and having to prepare and feeling this sense of pressure about like, okay, what does this mean for the future? Am I going to be judged on this? Like, am I going to pass? Am I going to graduate? All these different things. So what are the most common barriers to students seeking support, and how can they combat them? And I'm going to kick this one off with Akita.
Hi, thank you. I think the most common, I kind of have two most commons, if that's okay. I think that first place is feeling kind of like alone and like not really knowing how to actually have the conversation about whatever they're feeling or trying to develop it in the first place. But I think that second piece is knowing who am I able to go to speak to about this and all the other stuff. And with these continued the extra barriers put up by COVID, where we live inside of these boxes and we're trying to figure out who can I still connect to, because the way that I really connected while I was in school was this person might pull me out of class. This person might say, how are you doing? Walk down the hall, where now it's kind of just like, I see you in this box. This is where we are. And it's kind of losing like who, that feeling, that energy, that vibe when you get with somebody and around somebody that like I can talk to you, I can say something with you, or I can even say a joke to you. And I think that's kind of where that one piece of knowing who to go to, but that barrier of figuring out who that person is now through COVID is definitely tough.
But that's so important. Trust is the first word that comes up as you are speaking, is about who can you trust, especially in being vulnerable and sharing something personal, and we're in that, your emotional space. That's a big one. Kaylin. Back on mute.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I'm good. As a student myself, it's probably the biggest stressor, I think, would probably be the knowing where to go to, as well as tests, because right now our grades, because right now those seem to just be the things that affect how our life is going to go. Whether or not you get an A on a certain assignment, then it depends on your entire grade for the entire school year. So if you got a 78 in math, your entire grade would just plummet, even if everything else was like at in the 90s. And that then really starts to stress you out, because you're like, okay, now what do I do? Like, does this ruin everything? And then you start to think about your future, and you're scared that it just made your future plummet, and you're never going to be successful if you don't get the highest grades, or you're not the highest in the class, if you're not the smartest. And I feel like some teachers realize this and they understand this, but the way the school system works, it's hard for them to actually do anything about it, because they're so based on test scores to check if you're actually learning stuff. But it's kind of just you're kind of just going over the same things just to spit up on the test, and then you never remember it ever again.
Thank you so much, Kaylin, for sharing that perspective, especially just thinking about pressure. I think that was the first word that came up for me, and how that feels in your body. And, here in F.Y.R.E, in our program, we talk a lot about self-care and simmering down in some of our activities to kind of get you to be present in your body and thinking about how that is feeling. And that can be an overwhelming thing at times when you have a lot going on. You're trying to process everything. You're trying to get everything together, get your grades in, get your work done, make sure you got your chores done. So I definitely thank you so much for, speaking to the student's voice around like what those things are that students are navigating. Janair.
So to build on what Akita and Kaylin were saying, but I'm gonna preface this first. I work in a high school. And so I see the environment, I see the students. I hear a lot of the complaints from the students. I hear a lot of complaints from the teachers, right? Well, firstly, I would say like cultural taboos. And that goes into like, households where it's almost forbidden to speak about what's going on inside the house to people who are outside the home. And fear side of that as well, because you don't want to get in trouble with the system. Nowadays, if you just give a little bit too much information, you can possibly be taken from the home or have a 51A placed on someone in the household or someone in your family, and then you don't want your family members to look at you as if you're a troublemaker in the family, although you are the one who's actually, being harmed or the one who's suffering. I would also say a lack of representation in the social work world. I know a lot of students, for me at least, I knew for me growing up, I want to speak to someone who looked like me, and in my graduating class in grad school, there weren't many of us. And so in my program that I'm with now, there are many of us who identify with the students who identify with the staff as well, and even with their cultural backgrounds and religious backgrounds. I would also say there's an issue with if you can't see social workers or counselors in the school, outside of that, there is a really high demand for therapists, especially now during the pandemic, and it's very hard to get an appointment. Some therapists are booked for like months, and the next appointment that you can get is probably August, September. So it's very difficult to get a hold of someone to speak to. And then there's a financial piece as well. So if you have insurance, if you don't have insurance, if you need more than 4 sessions, it could be expensive. And that is a barrier that would prevent people in the community, youngsters, from accessing mental health care. And also, may I also add, because Caitlin, you brought up a really good point with schools. There are a mixed bag of teachers who acknowledge the importance of mental health. And there are some who are just more so, you need to be in class. I need you here. And what they kind of fail to understand is that if a student can't focus because they just witnessed something traumatic the night before or that morning, they're not going to be able to do their best in the classroom at that moment. And so I think that, if more teachers really understood the importance, it's hand in hand really with therapists and teachers in schools. You can't have one without the other. Students can't effectively function in the classroom if they don't have their mental health in check. Then you're yelling at the students, pay attention, you're writing, get off your cell phone, pick your head up, stop sleeping, take your hoodie off. And you don't understand that maybe this young man has his hoodie on because he's sad. And that's the only way he can express his sadness, because he just witnessed his friend being shot or his mom being hit or something traumatic happening to him. But he has to be in school, because if not, he'll get in trouble. His grades will suffer as a result of him just taking that time to just for grief, to grieve, or just to feel. So it is important that we, really stress the importance of mental health counselors, therapists in these schools, at least have us working with teachers, because there's a lot that goes on in our communities, and we need the support. I'm done.
No, thank you so much. You really highlighted on a lot of important points. And what we talk about within F.Y.R.E is talking about systemic oppression and talking about different ways the system impacts, especially when we're talking about the school to prison pipeline and how it's impacting girls of color specifically. And so everything that you're mentioning is thinking about the system and what's going into the system and how that system is structured. And you're hitting on diversity and inclusion, and really thinking about who are those diverse voices, this one, but inclusive voices, so that a student could find the support and the resources that they need for someone that does look like them, and be able to build those trusting relationships or begin to build or process trauma, grief. When you said grief, it made me think about what we're all navigating during COVID-19. This is while we're talking about a new normal and moving forward, can have a moment to pause and just have a moment to grieve. Like, this was a lot on everybody's plate from variety of systems being impacted. So to really make that time and to really create space for students' voices to be supportive and to think about what are these barriers that's impacting them, from finances to time to access. So we could talk about this all day, every day. I mean, we do that here at the YW Boston. And so this is right on the money and what we're thinking about when we're talking about being inclusive of young people's voices, because they are also indeed being impacted by the system. And so to close us out on this question, I'm going to have Sydney.
I honestly, I feel like it was covered. I feel like the things that I wrote down were stigma and also spirituality. And I just was thinking about how people who have challenges in terms of mental health sometimes can be portrayed in ways that are negative in the media, and also just in the ways that we hear people talk about people who have struggles. And that's something that was really sitting with me, for one. And then specifically to the point, and I know Janair was getting at this, but spirituality, I know in my own upbringing, like Christianity was like a huge part of how I grew up. And I grew up with a mother who just would be like, you can pray certain things away, right? Like whether that's anxiety and like quoting scripture or depression, right? Whatever it is. And I went through high school depressed and didn't know until I left my home environment that I was depressed, right? And it took me some time to really access resources where people could help me and that I could understand that where I was where I was. And so I think, sometimes religion and spirituality also really can get in the way, as was already mentioned. And so those are the two things that are, just based on my own personal experience, kind of sitting with me as I think about what barriers exist for students. And I think, Janair, I was just listening as I was hearing you talk about lack of representation, also just thinking about the beauty and the resources that I have found in my adult life, like since. And one of them, I just want to, I forget the name exactly, but there's this awesome podcast and there's this awesome network that's like about Black girls who seek out therapy. I forget what it is called exactly, and someone might know it, but there's this incredible directory of resources that, give people access to mental health counselors who are actually Black. And as a Black person, like that really, similar to as has been mentioned, really matters to me when I'm thinking about clinicians. And so those are the things that come to mind for me.
Thank you for that. That is absolutely, it's all spot on, right? It's interconnected. We're looking at all these different pieces. And what I love is just the different lens and perspectives and different experiences that we all have that contributes to this conversation that really plays at a system that's been operating a certain way for a very long time that is in need of desperate change, or, to improve so that we can have the supports that are needed for students of color. That's really, really, really important. So thank you for that. So we are going to keep flowing. I would love to know, how does the F.Y.R.E program help support girls' social and emotional wellness? I will say for Janair and Nikita to think about how programs like ours support the wellness of Black and brown girls overall. But I have two folks that's been up in here a little bit, so to speak, to how does the F.Y.R.E program supports that. I'm going to kick it off with Kaylin.
Wait, yeah, I pressed it once. So I think the F.Y.R.E really helps because it gives, after my school day, if whenever I came to Grow Girls and you were the person doing it, or Kiana, it was my time to like chill. It was my time to relax and just not have to focus on schoolwork or my future as much. And I could just talk to people who I knew would listen. So I feel like it gives a safe space instead of just having to be somewhere at a specific time. It gives a point to just be in one moment at one time.
Thank you for sharing that. We love having you in our spaces too, girl. Be real. Yes. You saw the vision board earlier that Portia had. I was thinking of you instantly because you were one of the first ones. Like, can I share mine? I got things to talk about. Yes. Pass the torch to Sydney.
So I think F.Y.R.E does a fabulous job of promoting social emotional wellness and young girls of color, young women of color in the Boston area. I had the pleasure of working with Tiela and Kiana last year a little bit in the summertime on F.Y.R.E. And the two things that came to mind immediately for me were there was this one mural activity, and I think it was kind of like an identity map that people would do where they would really think about this question of like, who am I in the world? And like, how do I show that to other people? And I think sitting with that question is such an important one, just thinking about like, as you enter into spaces, like, I think it's so critical to know who you are and to be engaging with that question, who am I? And like showing that to other people, I think is really important. Another thing that I thought about was just how, I remember that there were opportunities to do these kind of like scenario-based things where we would consider different conflicts and think about the ways that conflicts could be resolved. And I found in listening to the ways that the Igniters were engaging with these different scenario-based activities that they would really have to think about the resources that people had access to in these particular scenarios. And I found that like in listening to the conversations that Igniters were having, sometimes it would come up like, you know, this person could call out on a teacher, could call out on a loved one, whatever it is, and they would, you know, start to talk about like the loved ones in their own communities. And so I thought about like social wellness also, and that how people could be thinking about like, who is the circle around me, not just who am I, but like who also is a part of this like larger version of myself. And then the final thing I'll say, I said two things, but this is a third, is just that I felt like there was such a spirit around like checking in on people. So I remember last summer, there would be days where there would be some Igniters who would come and they really wouldn't necessarily want to talk, or they would have some level of attitude going on. And like, I just remember Kiana would check in, like send some private messages, and I'd be trying to send some private messages. We'd all be checking in and just, you know, seeing how are you doing today? Like, is there anything going on that you want to share? And I loved at the beginning of activities having an opportunity just to check in and really be like, hey, let's do a fist to 5. Like, where are you today? 1, 2, like up to you, right? Or here's a minimeter, like share, like what's your mood based on a GIF or whatever it was. And I think that level of check-in was really important because the young people who were a part of this program could share, you know, this is where I am today. I'm not having a good day. And whether or not they wanted to give voice to that particular experience or not, like at least it was something where they could tap in and they could say, this is where I am. And whether or not like is something that they want to talk about deeply, just being able to have it be in the room, I think was a very powerful thing. And so those are some of the things that come to mind for me when I think about F.Y.R.E and the social emotional well-being with the Igniters.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for taking me down memory lane, because I was definitely seeing some faces popping up and I'm like, yeah, I remember that day. It was one of them chatted days in the chat. I'm going to pass the torch to Janir.
Okay, so I spend a lot of time with you, T, and I hear a lot about your group, and I'm like, it's just an honor to like be in your vortex, honey. I think you're dope. I think what you're doing with these young ladies is phenomenal. So you know, hearing about what you do and understanding the mission statement of what you do. A big part that sticks out to me is that you empower girls by teaching them about positive identity. So I'm building off of what Sydney's talking about. And how to develop positive self-identity. And that's the most important to me, because it's a catalyst in a sense. So it creates a healthy starting point for social justice, and civic engagement, and overall just advocacy, because when you know who you are, you know your power, you know your story, and you understand your purpose a little better, and it's practice. So you got practicing, which is like my mantra for this year and for life. Because, if you got to keep at it, it's not a one and done. You have to keep at it. So you have to continue with the affirmations. I'm powerful. I'm indomitable, and the more sturdy you are, the more confident you become in your voice, So I think that's important across any group. If you're in a group or out of a group, it's just a life necessity. Like, you have to know who you are. You have to know your power so that you can either advocate for yourself, which you really need to do first and foremost, and then you can advocate for the community. So that's my piece.
No, thank you for that. I receive, and what you're speaking to is, I think about our igniters are change makers, and we always hear that young people are the future. Young people are the future. And I go, no, stop it. They're not going to be young in the future. Young people are the present. Let's enjoy these gifts. Let's pour into these gifts. Let's give them all that they need right now. So when they go off into the future and launch these amazing gifts and launch their amazing talents, they have had had support, have a network, have been poured into so that they can pay that forward, and speaking to what Liz said earlier, I am worthy, I am enough, and I am belong. So I appreciate you sharing those, affirmations and being able to affirm ourselves up. And, in taking care of ourselves, that's important, because not every day is going to be like, yes, good morning, how are you? Let's do this. I'm ready. You're going to have some days be like, this bed feels so good. If that alarm clock don't hush up, I'm going to throw it out the window and I'll hear you hit the ground and I'm going to go right back to sleep. Okay. So to find that balance is so important. It's so real. To close us up, passing the torch to Akita.
So much. As you said, yes, I'm not a part of YW or F.Y.R.E, but this program, even just today, even after just hearing Sydney, Kaylin, and even Janir speak, it has me thinking about the different spaces and stuff like that I've had. And when I think of, like, it was the first time I was able to have a space with people that even looked like me. Nevertheless, even furthermore, a bunch of women that looked just like me was not until I was in college, and that was because of UTLA. And when I think about how much that experience in itself helped me grow, it makes me think, what if I was younger and all the other time, and I was empowered the way that I was empowered once I got older at a younger age? And I'm going to try to keep it short, but that is what I see within each person that has talked today to these young women, each in the comments, to the ways that everybody is engaging, even in this. Like, this is probably the first time in the past year and a half that I actually feel like I'm sitting in a room right now with other people and I'm just in this box, like, as I kind of was saying earlier. And the warm space, the love, the hearts, all of that other stuff, that's how you see that real strength and all the other stuff, the power of this program in itself is really growing, and it is connecting and is bringing different young women together, and knowing that you have that person that you can speak to be able to do a check-in. And most people don't even make enough space, 5 minutes in the beginning of the day, to say, hey, how are you? And to hear that there's something like that really brings a lot of strength and empowerment into a space. But even myself as a college advisor, one of the number one things that's hard is that personal essay for college. Because it's like, what am I about to write about? how am I going to think about this? Am I going to write about a project that I did? Am I going to write about my experiences? Oh, well, they say if I say some negative stuff, then they might be more interested in having me there. But it's really not about pushing out those negativities about yourself or your difficulties or whatever else in life, but to really empower you to speak about what makes you amazing and what makes you great. And so many of our young kids don't have that space or that opportunity. And when it comes time for that essay, that's supposed to determine it all, right? A lot of people are stuck. And I see even just within my own personal work, how F.Y.R.E really will ignite all of that and open so many doors moving forward. And so yes, thank you. That's how I'll answer this. The empowerment.
I appreciate you so much. You brought me back to Swift Movement, and thinking about F.Y.R.E, it is that version of being able to create that space for younger girls to talk about their experiences, their day, checking with how they are doing. Even if it's church, we've had sessions and Kayla can speak. We'll just talk. We'll be talking and just popcorn style, and we're sharing. Yes, and this happened last week, and yes, I've had this happen to me too. And just to get that energy going and that vibration after being in a day where whether we were in person and you're sitting in class all day, you have your little in between moments, but like to have that really intentional moment is so important. And one piece that you spoke about is the intergenerational piece. And I think this is what I think about why F.Y.R.E is so important, and what's so inspiring about F.Y.R.E is because right now in this moment, there is that blessing of having, the people who are running the program look like the population that they're serving. And that these girls are like, hold up, what's this? What y'all doing over there? And then just getting that interest, getting sparked up. Like, hold on, okay. And then once you come, you're like, oh, okay, this is different. Like, okay, I have some that never had that space. So thank you for speaking to the importance of creating space, and also to, I think, just create intergenerational spaces, period. I think this is an opportunity there that sometimes always get missed because there might be the stereotypes and the systems of ageism and, well, you're a young person and you don't know this and you're old as a dinosaur. And it's like, but dinosaurs were like 50, 60,000 years ago. Even your reference is a little outdated, but there's some knowledge there that you ask, so what is it that I can know? And I've always let my young people know, you are the expert of your own experience. I am not 12 right now, so I cannot speak to a 12-year-old and talk about, I know what it is to be 12, and being mindful of how I might use my experience of being 12 to talk about, well, when I was 12, y'all, it's just be like, look, let's have some space to really talk about how we are all impacted at different spaces of our generational growing. And we all were young people at one point in time, and all young people may have by the grace of God, have the benefits to grow up and be older and experience different things along their journey. So let's create that space so that we can build and learn from each other instead of I'm here, which starts to create that hierarchy type of vibration. So we have a little bit of time, but moving on to our second to last question, I would love to know, and this is the self-care piece, because yes, I always ask about self-care, even though I'm still working at taking care of my, it's it's a work in progress. I want to know, what is the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning and why? And I'm going to kick this off to Janair first.
All right. So the first thing I do in the AM, if I wake up without my 5-month-old, she just turned 5 months yesterday, my 5-month-old crying because she's hungry. If I wake up before she does, immediate gratitude. I'm just grateful to be here, to start over, to be better, to do better, to learn, to empower, to be a mother. And I love this role. Oh my gosh, this is the greatest gift that I've ever been given. And it will be the greatest gift ever. Ever. You can buy me a pair of skates, which I really want. That's nice. But being a mom is amazing. And if it's not gratitude, then it's me kissing her multiple times on the face, because it's still a form of gratitude, actually, because it's just like, thank you for choosing me. Thank you for coming at a time where your mama got her head on straight. Thank you for coming at a time where physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. I am solid. I'm at a good place. I'm gonna get even better, because every day is something new. But I know how to box, so I know how to roll the punches. So yeah, it's gratitude, and kisses, plenty kisses, and love. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. Oh, gratitude. That's the attitude. Having the attitude of gratitude. Yes. Sydney, pass the torch to you.
That was such a beautiful response. And congratulations on your 5-month-old. I'm very happy for you. Tiela, if I'm being honest, because I love, the honesty in the space, I appreciate what you said about, it's work in progress. Because when I knew that I would be coming and speaking about this self-care today, I was like, I am not a model by any means. I'm figuring it out, and it is a journey. Of late, I wake up and I sit in my bed. I'm not gonna lie to you. But one thing I will say, I learned at the beginning of the year that's really helpful. I've been going through a space of a lot of anxiety of late. And TL and I have talked about this in our advocacy committee meetings because we're both on it and we send each other little messages. But I found one of the best things for actually helping me get out of the space of anxiety and just sitting and overthinking is actually to get up. And so I don't get up right now. I wish I did, but some days I need to sit and I need to acknowledge that it's okay. Like that's something I've been working on, that it's okay to sit. But I also will say that I know that the better thing, and when I'm ready for it, I will get up, right? And I will walk and I will do what I need to do. So that's what I'll say. But, a couple of weeks ago when I was having a good week, a really good week, I was getting up and I was taking a walk in the morning and listening to an audiobook that was doing something nice for me. But I think at all times it's different. And so I just want to acknowledge that it's also okay. If your practice doesn't necessarily look right now, I wake up, I have my morning cup of tea and I, write a list of all the things I'm grateful for. And I just open the blinds and, bring it in. It's okay. And that's where I am, in a place of just accepting that right now is a little messy, but it'll pass.
Lord knows I need to hear those words. That was church in my soul. So thank you so much. It's okay to sit. It's okay to rest. I love y'all. After this symposium, I will be resting next week. So thank you. I want to thank you for allowing me to call that in and honor it, because I was literally like, well, I have all this to do. And maybe taking a vacation is a bad time because I got all this to do. And what will happen if this? And what will happen? And it's just the question of what and plan it for the week after. So I hear that voice. Thank you, Kamara. Of just take care of yourself now. Kaylin, what do you do, my darling?
Yeah, okay. I'm kind of Sydney, not the best role model for self-care. And it really depends on what day it is. If it's a school day, I will press my alarm clock snooze button 5 times before I actually get up, because I set it for 4:30, so I feel like I'm doing something by waking up at 5. But really that's when I'm supposed to wake up. So and then I kind of just sleepwalk through the day until I get to my second period class, and then I'm actually there in my life. And on the weekends, I'm kind of sad to say this, but I just pick up my phone and just start scrolling through TikTok. I don't want to get out of bed yet, but I also don't want to feel like I'm doing nothing. So I just scroll through whatever's on the feed.
I just want to say everything you shared was beyond to the rail and is the rail. Okay. And I, so thank you for giving me a moment to, you're in school. I'm a whole adult. That's the title they gave me. Okay. And I still hit the snooze button about 8 times. And I set it on my phone, my clock. And thank you for saying that. I set my alarm at 4:30 because I think I'm doing so. I'm getting up early. Yeah. Cause I be setting it at 5. And then when I roll out of bed one day, it was 8:30. And I was just like, yeah. Yeah, I was motivated to press the button for 3 hours. That's all it was. Thank you. Akita, what do you do when you wake up first thing in the morning?
Well, I want to just say that I am in a point of transition, and I'm working on it. But I have myself a written schedule so that I can try my best to stick by. And I wake up, and my first thing to do is stretch, just to get like the blood flowing, or whatever else. Sometimes that is, if I get on my phone, my thing is text my friends and tell them good morning. And I do that to, one, I should not be on my phone. That's what I tell myself. So if I'm going to be up there, I have to do something good and something connecting for the day. If it's not that, I try to literally just roll all the way to the end of my bed and fall out and try to get myself up and going so I could stretch. But then I turn on my Bearded Dragon's light. And that kind of is like my motivation to say, like, I have to get up or I need to do something. He's keeping me accountable. And I make sure he gets his day started too. If not, then I'll feel bad because I probably laid in bed scrolling when I shouldn't be. But that's what I do. My pet helps me.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Scheduling, the snoozing, the gratituding, the drinking watering, the sitting. It's okay. The scrolling, again, because sometimes that scrolling happens twice. It's real. Everything each and every one of you have shared today is beyond just thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for making it real. Thank you for making it live. It is a progress. I am the perfectionist in me, that I am the recovering perfectionist, like she got to go. Is definitely, struggles with practicing, struggles with that sometimes because it's a one-hit stop formula in the automated world that you could just instantly gratify yourself. So I guess sometimes you want to transfer some of that execution and get it done, but to actually sit and be with and be intentional and just give yourself your mind a brain break. Sometimes those thoughts is like over 60,000 thoughts or something like that we think a day. And I'm like, I thought I did more than that. I start laughing when I hear the number. I'd be like, I swear that's probably every hour for me. That's how I be feeling on some days, Thank you. And it's real, and everything, with growth and evolving. And I wrote on the board yesterday thinking about one of the meditations I listened to, which is I evolve. And I think more of having patience and grace for ourselves during the process, as we are that's a super duper water bottle. As we are navigating our different day-to-day expectations and adjusting to the time of COVID and everything that's going to bring down and what we have to readjust to moving forward, it is so important not to forget our social and emotional wellness, our mental health, especially historically speaking, when there are women who are having heart attacks at certain ages and different things happening with your body, and it's getting younger. And I say that it's getting younger because there's a lot more stresses, there's a lot more expectations, there's a lot more pressure, there's a lot more internalization of those pressures and expectations. And we talked about the 4 I's here and how oppression is manifested, and the internalized piece is something that's really important to think about. What are some of the messages? What are some of those ideas? What are some of those thoughts that we are thinking that we need to apply to ourselves? And what do we need to let go of? And where do we need to make some space? And as I heard today, it's okay not to have all the answers. I'm going to really probably go say that after today 100 times, because I'm the one who wants to know all the answers, and that could stress me out a lot. So just to be here with you all today is a key reminder to keep the fire ignited, to keep the fire going. It is okay if you got some low burning. You just, don't have to necessarily throw the gasoline on it to make it burn up again. Figure out the ways that you cultivate and nurture the fire. Getting some little bits of woods, let the embers do what they do. Yes, I'm gonna hit us all with the fire grams today. But thank you so much, Akita, Janair, Sydney, Kaylin, for being here, sharing your voices today. It has been a pleasure. I'm going to have you amazing souls. You can wave to the amazing souls. Bye. Yes. And then you are able to turn your cameras off. And I will lead us into the next portion of our program today. Thank you so much for being here, being here with us. This conversation was needed. I hope you are walking away with a nugget, an idea, a message to tell someone that you love that might be going through something, a young person who is struggling that you know, and you learned something new and you have a new approach on how to engage with that young person. Take it, use it, love upon it, build upon it. Thank you for being here. What we are going to do before we transition into our table talks, I like to point out a couple of things. So first, we are going to, this room will close. As you entered the space, you were brought to a table. That's where the table talks will take place. You are going to take a second. Once we return back to the floor, you are going to double check the table topic that you want to be at and move to your desired topic. If you are not at the table of your choice, you could do that by double clicking on the table you want to join. Each floor represents the same topic. So we have 2 floors. I think we are an intimate family today, so we can all hang out on floor 1. If there are any topics that are full on floor 1, then you will please move yourself to floor 2 to join that same topic. If, please know that there is an elevator on the left of the screen so that you'll be able to navigate between the different floors. I also recommend zooming your floor plan out so that you are able to see the entire floor plan. Sometimes if you just come in, you might be on a table, you will zoom out so you can see the whole floor plan so that you can navigate throughout the space. We have a few of our program staff that is available throughout the event. So if you are interested in learning more about the F.Y.R.E initiative, you could definitely check in with us at any point in time, and we'll be sharing those popping up at some tables as well. And finally, if you are looking for the program book when we go into our conference space online, it will be located to the top right next to the stage. So in 1 minute, we are going to transition to our tables and get the conversation started. I am going to play some music to kind of get us queued up before we go. And then once it ends, we will all be placed back into the tables. Thank you so much for joining me thus far. From our speakers to our panelists, you have lit it up. You have kept the energy going. My fire is ignited. I am feeling fierce. I am feeling good. I'm feeling in my element, and I hope you are too. Here we go. So as we bring down fire, set back up in stargazing. The sky is right above me. Thank you for being here with us this afternoon. I hope that you have had some amazing conversations and was able to learn a little bit more about your topic, some intimate conversations taking place. So thank you so much for contributing and making those conversations dynamic at your table. These conversations are just like the ones we have with our igniters during our sessions. They are the expert of their own experience, and it's been an amazing learning experience, learning from them and how they see the world and their view in it, their view of their perspective of them within it. Whew. It's been a long afternoon. I appreciate your balance. I've been trying to sip lots of water in between. We are now going to watch a video featuring our igniters sharing their experience with the F.Y.R.E Initiative program. Not all of our amazing igniters could be here today, but we do celebrate them. Whether they're here, they're not here, we appreciate them and just so excited for them to be able to contribute to our program, because without them, we wouldn't have our amazing program. So I'm going to pass the torch and have Kiana share her screen.
My name is Alaya. I am in the 6th grade and I am with Grow Girls. My name is Soraya. I'm in 5th grade and I'm with Grow Girls.
My name is Kaylin McGinnis and I am in 10th grade. I'm with Grow Girl.
Hi, I'm Naya. I'm in the 6th grade and I'm with Grover.
My name is Samantha. I'm in 7th grade and I'm with Grow Girls.
My first name is Sarah and I'm in 8th grade. My name is Hannah. I'm in 4th grade. And I'm with F.Y.R.E. and we have long conversations. My favorite thing about F.Y.R.E. is that we get to speak openly and there's like nobody hating on what we say.
What I like about F.Y.R.E. is the energy and positivity that Tiela and Kiana bring. It always uplifts me, and the conversations are always something that I can engage in.
I like the people who are running it. Like, they're fun and they're nice, and I always enjoy coming to the meetings because, like, it's usually funny. And yeah, also I like the topics because they're not really talking at us, they're more interactive. So we're not just sitting here for 45 minutes, an hour, just listening to someone else talk. We're like answering stuff.
My favorite one is the personal power one because it helped me realize like some things that I thought were low self-esteem or high self-esteem was actually the opposite. Like the one where you talk about racism and how to overcome it.
All of the moments are my favorite moments. My name is Amira. I'm in 7th grade, and I like when we have like open discussions and stuff, and be able to just like open up about like whatever you want. I wish people would know more about F.Y.R.E. and stuff, and more people would like come on here and sign up.
I wish like how our first topic where we had that game to really like drill in what we're talking about, maybe different games that also like we can come together to focus on and like try to play while talking about these serious conversations. So then, because sometimes games help people understand things.
Also wish that we had more time in person because I really enjoy when I get to go outside and hang out with everyone.
I wish I had the groups in person rather than on the computer. Because of F.Y.R.E.,
I am
more confident. Yeah. I feel like I can speak stronger. I know that I can be a stronger person and that like just because of being a girl or all this stuff, that doesn't make me any less of a person than anyone else, and that I'm just as good as anyone else.
I am more open-minded in a way.
I understand certain situations and know how to diffuse them. Learned a lot of communication skills, and those have helped me like talk to people in general.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you, Kayana, for putting that together. Thank you to our igniters for sharing your voice. I know we was doing it via Zoom. Oh, like if you had to have the behind the scenes, you watch TV shows and you see the behind the scenes and the bloopers, it would be hilarious to see some of their reactions. And it turned out amazing, ladies. So you look amazing, you look great, and thank you so much for being a part of our F.Y.R.E. community. We are now see, now that goes to show when young people get in your head, you have beats of their songs sticking right there with you. So to our F.Y.R.E., what we are getting ready to do is going to go into acknowledging our igniters. They have been with us, not just our igniters, our partners, for making this happen, for bringing the fire into your schools, into your organizations, coming into our shared Zoom space together. Woo! the Zoom life has been real. We have made it. We have done some things throughout this trying time. We have sought to keep the light going. We have worked on creating spaces for our young ladies to come together and share and participate and be themselves, be versions of their best selves, to just talk about the ups and downs of everyday life that doesn't normally get talked about when we are dealing with the day-to-day things. And so this is an opportunity to acknowledge our igniters, and I'm going to ensure I share my screen. Get the fun started. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. To our F.Y.R.E igniters and our partners, thank you for welcoming us into the community. We have so many different schools that have different, whether you're the Greenwood, and be like, yeah, we're gonna have the wood added to the fire. I love to find these amazing puns with our partners that we can kind of play upon. We have Grow in the house, so we are growing our fire. We are growing our fierceness when we are together. And so I am excited to celebrate the resiliency, courage, and power of our igniters who have been with us through the pandemic and completed the program. And we also have some amazing honorary mentions. And I love to say for our honorary mentions are our partners and igniters who we've had an opportunity to get together and run a couple of sessions. And due to the pandemic, unfortunately, the impact on the student schedule, it's just being able to work with our partners as they're navigating some of their own challenges. We were not able to complete our time together. But the great thing about it is we will reignite the fire this fall with some of our amazing partners. And so we are going to continue to expand who we are reaching out to, who we are networking with, and making sure we are inviting as many people to the bonfire as possible. So thank you to our F.Y.R.E initiative partners, Boston Centers for Youth and Families, the Girls Leadership Corps. They've been one of our partners since the beginning of our time 2 years ago. Here we are 2 years in. We've navigated so many different things, and we are here. Thank you, BCYF. Mission Hill School. Thank you so much for being one of our partners. We have some of our amazing young igniters here with us today that have been joining in on some of these sessions. So thank you so much for being here. The Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. School, thank you so much for being here, being a part of the team, and having your amazing young people be with us. BPD's Bureau of Community Engagement, Girls Reflecting Our World. Thank you so much. We talk about partnerships. One of the things that I believe that's really important, the same way that we build with our igniters, is relationship building. And so being able to get to know our partners, to get to understand what some of their needs are and how we can support them in supporting their girls. Thank you so much, Grow, for helping us grow the fire and stay ignited. Roxbury Tenants of Harvard, thank you so much. This is one of our fall 2020 partners that came in. Right, and when I say fall 2020, we were out in spring. It was like spring 2020, went through a summer, and here we are in the fall. And so that partnership really gave us an opportunity to kickstart a school year, jumpstart a school year with our F.Y.R.E program. So thank you so much for being our partner this year. And Boston Preparatory Charter School, shout out to Money Mo, who is here representing today, Miss Monet Griffin. Thank you so much for being in this space with us today. This is one of our new partners that took place at the beginning of this school year. And right when everything was just jumping all around and trying to figure out which direction we are going to blow in, so to speak, they were one of the partners that we were able to still continue to work and build with throughout our time together. So thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much for what we are going to continue to do moving forward. So I'm really excited to grow our partnerships. For my honorable mention, shout out to the Sarah Greenwood School. Thank you so much. We've been working with them for the last couple of years as well. So I look forward to bringing the wood, getting some wood up in our fire for the fall, as we're going to be getting the winter and got to warm up for the winter. So it's just going to be right on target, right on time. Match Charter Public School, thank you so much for your support this year. We were not able to keep the match lit, but we are going to light that match up for the fall. So I'm really excited to partner with the match, with Match Public School. It's going to be exciting. And last but not least, the Helen Y. Davis Leadership Academy, aka DLA. I want to thank them so much for we were able to build, come in, speak with their students, talk with their parents, do a lot of amazing things. And we all know COVID, it hits you. And so we navigated, we adjusted. And so I look forward to working with our partners during the fall. So for my Igniters, you all are amazing. Congratulations. Thank you. What it means to acknowledge you and honor you during this time is to really speak to young people's resiliency. And we talk about in our program stereotypes around ageism and what it is to be a young person. And just to bring that, to navigate this time and bring your voice into the conversation about how COVID is impacting us all. Thank you for being the expert of your own experience and willing to show up in this space with us week after week to share some of the things that are going on with you. We were able to learn about from the MCAS to being out of school, to not being with your friends, to wanting to get outside, to wanting to take these masks off. All of your feelings are exactly what everyone is feeling. So that means including adults. So just know you are not alone. And so thank you so much for investing in yourself, for being a part of our program, for being a fierce you, reigniting excellence and sharing space together with us so we can just continue to learn and build together. That is the definition of intergenerational relationship building for me. And so thank you for allowing me to continue to, one, develop my skills, and two, continue to let others know that it's really, really important to speak to our young people and bring them up. They are the present now, not just our future. So let's make sure we invest in these amazing presents that we have. So to kick us off, our first group, I'm just going to call out these amazing young ladies, put it out into the universe, into the air. You can throw fire signs in the chats. You can throw happy faces, hearts, do all that amazing stuff. We are going to start with Boston Centers for Youth and Families. And I would love to award this to Amira for your resiliency, courage, and determination to ignite your fire within and completing YW Boston's Fire Initiative program. Thank you, Amira, for being with us. Daniela, love you. Thank you for being here with us. Audie, thank you for sharing space with us and being a part of the bonfire. Aaron, thank you for being here and keeping your fire ignited. Sarah, thank you for keeping it lit with us throughout our sessions together, because without you, we wouldn't have our sessions. Pamela, thank you so much for joining us and being with us and working to keep your fire ignited within you. Nia, love you. Thank you so much for being with us. Nia, you've been with us for a couple of years, and so I thank you. You give us the opportunity to continuously see your growth as well. Jasmine, thank you for being a part of Ignite and keeping your fire ignited and joining the Fire Initiative. Robley, one of our top stars in our sessions. Thank you so much. I have watched you emerge, stepped into your leadership role, your leadership power, and your talent. So thank you so much for being your amazing self. Shani, thank you so much for being a part of the Fire Initiative and joining our bonfire and keeping it lit. Juliana, thank you, my darling, for being with us and creating space and sharing your voice. We love you and thank you for just being the amazing you that you have been during our time together. So shout out to BCYF. Thank you so much for your amazing igniters and keeping them with us and continuing to partner with us. Next up, we have Roxbury Tenants of Harvard. Thank you so much for our partnership. I have Avi. Miss working with these young ladies. It was since 2020. I wish I could just work with them every time, every year, year after year. It would be amazing. Juan Lin, thank you so much for contributing and being a part of our FIRE initiative program. Quan, thank you for being with us and holding space with us. I know being online during the first round of running our sessions was tough, but you stuck in there with us and you made the fire burn. Chi Yu, thank you so much for being with us in our sessions. We have some amazing souls. It takes a lot of courage and willingness to be in our spaces. And when you haven't met nobody, so coming in and getting to learn like we have experienced today at our table talks, thank you for warming up with us. Thank you, Noor, for being with us. Love you, artist, amazing soul. I appreciate your voice and your contribution to the FIRE program. Ji Yang, thank you so much for being a part of the FIRE program with us and contributing to our bonfire and getting things warmed up for us. And now here we are in this program, continuing to move it forward. So because of FIRE, because of you are, FIRE is doing bigger things. Thank you. Jamara, love you. Also had great energy showing up in our sessions, providing good love, good conversation. So thank you. Jacinda, thank you for igniting the fire and joining our bonfire sessions. Helen, thank you for igniting the fire, attending our bonfire sessions and keeping it lit during our time together. Helen, thank you so much for being in our groups, participating, adding great perspectives and a different voice and perspective to our groups that is really, really important. Thank you. Gianna, thank you so much for your contribution for being a part of the FIRE initiative and joining our bonfire. Elizabeth, thank you, you amazing soul, for being a part of FIRE. You have helped to make FIRE what it is to this day. Next is our Boston Prep Charter in the house. We got Money Mo, Monet Griffin. Yes, I'm calling you out, amazing soul, because you have done amazing work. And she has been the amazing lead in getting some of our dance parties started after our session. So if you want to know more about creating dance parties, throw some fire signs in the chat and let her know. We have Alyssa. Thank you, Alyssa, for igniting your fire and being a part of our bonfire sessions. It has been amazing to have your voice with us. Blanca, thank you so much for being a part of our sessions and just bringing an energy that just kept us laughing and going. Naira, thank you for being a part of our sessions and adding your amazing voice. When you spoke and you brought that energy, it definitely just makes the points that we're talking about in our program really hit home. Alejandra, thank you so much for igniting your fire and joining the bonfire and being with us during our fire sessions. It has been lit being with you. Samaya, hope when you see this, girl, you're going to have a good laugh. This amazing soul popping up on screen, leaving school to travel between school to come home to be a part of a session, coming in, jumping in. Thank you so much for keeping it lit and joining the fire sessions. Nadia, thank you so much for keeping it lit, keeping it ignited, and being a part of our fire sessions. It has been amazing. And I have my Money Mo. Yes, I want you to make sure you see it. You are here. Thank you so much for being a part of our program. It has been a blessing and a pleasure dancing with you, speaking with you, and just relaxing. You helped me to realize just to have a little more fun in my life. So thank you. Gigi Lujalencia, thank you so much for this is our honorable mention. There was some sessions she was not able to attend, but when she came into our fire sessions, oh, did she bring the fire and keep it lit for us. So thank you, Gigi. And Lisa, thank you so much for joining our fire sessions and being a part of the fire and contributing sticks, marshmallows, graham crackers, and chocolate. We've had one more of a time together. Janasia, this is Lady Wright. She's also joined as part of me, Muddy Mo, and having our dance session. So I'm sending you some love and thank you for igniting our fire. BPD grow. Thank you so much, amazing souls. Kaylin, thank you so much for being a part of the FIRE initiative and contributing your voice, your energy. Thank you for participating on our panel today. You brought your energy, you brought your voice, and I love it. It was just like being in session with you. So thank you so much for being here today. Judaline, our darling, we did not get a chance to hear from our opening poet, but that is okay. I know she was here with us. I felt her pass the fire through the torch line so I could come through and read a poem. So I hope I did her proud today. So thank you so much, Judaline, for being here and contributing your voice to our fire sessions. Elia, I have amazing twins in our groups, and this is one half of the amazing duo. So thank you so much for being a part of our sessions and bringing your fierce energy. Soraya, trust me, they give me the energy. I can't help do this because when we are in sessions together, this is exactly how we are. Thank you so much for igniting the fire and keeping it lit during our time together. Naya, I played BTS Dynamite. That's her favorite group. Every time we start off our session, we kick off a song with some Dynamite with the BTS. They always let me know how to educate me. So thank you, Naya. I have you here in my heart, and I hope you enjoyed and danced to your song behind the scenes. Arabella, aka Bella. Bella, thank you so much, darling, for igniting your fire and being a part of the FIRE initiative. It has been a pleasure being in sessions with you and hearing you share your voice. And I think this is my other half of another twin duo set that's in the space with us. So thank you for contributing your voice to the fire. And Ariana, now we just got the two twinning up in the space. So thank you so much, darling, for igniting your fire, staying lit, and participating with us during our sessions. Cheyenne, thank you, darling, for igniting your fire, staying lit, and joining our sessions. I always love to have these conversations with this amazing mellow soul. So I look forward to seeing the great work that you are going to do. Christine, thank you, darling, for being a part of our amazing sessions. You are awesome. You bring a dynamic energy, and I thank you so much for keeping it lit during our times together. Courtney, you've heard her amazing voice in our video. Thank you so much for contributing and being a part of the FIRE program. We are lit today because of all you amazing souls. So thank you for every contribution that you made to the bonfire. Essence, thank you, my darling. For Essence is in the house. We have these amazing conversations, so thank you. I look forward to more of your essence during our time together. So shout out to you for being one of our amazing honorable mentions, and when you show up, you show out, and I thank you. Lovinsley in the house. I saw you, darling, one of our other amazing igniters who keep it lit. When we did our vision board sessions, I hope you appreciated seeing Portia go today and sharing some of her vision board. It reminded me of you when you were so excited to share. So congratulations and thank you for being a part of our amazing program. Nico, I love you, Nico. Thank you for participating, bringing sticks, marshmallows, and all that good stuff to our bonfire. Thank you so much. I appreciate being able to celebrate you today, and I look forward to the amazing greatness that you are going to continue to do moving forward. And Samantha, you help us weather our fires. If I had to speak in terms of zodiac, I'm a Gemini and the air sign, so I be blowing fire, and Kayana's a Sagittarius, so she got that fire sign, so you be keeping us weathered nice and mellow. So thank you so much, and I'm so appreciative so we could celebrate you today. Samaje, sending some love to my homegirl, Samaje. Thank you so much for participating and being in our sessions. You keep it lit, and I love you. And thank you for being with us each session throughout every hurdle that we've been through. Takaya, my fellow amazing other T in the house, thank you so much for your amazing energy, your dynamic presence, and I look forward to having many more fires be lit with your presence around it. Mission Hill School, I did not have the wonderful opportunity of working with these amazing ladies, but I've heard amazing great stories that kept me laughing and going for days. And this group had an energy that was just lit and made Friday mornings dynamic for Kiana. So shout out to the Mission Hill crew for doing their thing. We have Beatrice. Thank you for being a part of the bonfire and keeping things ignited by joining us. Camilla, thank you so much for staying lit and keeping the fire lit with us and joining us. So I hope you've enjoyed your time during your sessions on Fridays. Shani, thank you so much for your participation and your voice. And I'm hoping for many more amazing sessions that we are going to be able to do together. Geneva, I believe I saw Miss Geneva in the house sitting at a table. So shout out to Miss Geneva representing Mission Hill School. Thank you so much for joining the fire, keeping it lit, and reigniting your excellence, because you are important. And thank you for being here today. Ingila, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of our fire sessions, keeping it ignited and participating and bringing that fierce energy that is so important during our times together. So thank you. Come on, computer. Jasmine, thank you so much for igniting the fire, keeping it lit, and joining our fire sessions. It has been amazing. I know Kiana has enjoyed you, so thank you for being here. Kelsey, thank you so much for igniting the fire, keeping it lit, and joining our bonfire sessions. Thank you for your presence. Kimberly, thank you so much for your presence, your energy, keeping it lit, keeping the fire going, and we look forward to many more fires to burn with you. Majadi, thank you so much for showing up and participating, keeping it lit, keeping the fire going. I know it has been an amazing Friday session, so I look forward to hearing many more amazing stories that we are going to build for the future. Michelle, thank you so much for your participation, keeping the fire ignited and keeping things lit, and we look forward to many more fires to burn up with you. Moxie, thank you for your energy and being a part of the fire sessions. I'm hoping that you keep it lit and be the change maker that we all are looking forward to seeing in the world. Natalia, thank you for being a part of our sessions and participating. We appreciate you keeping it lit when you join us, and I look forward to many more opportunities to have you come back and be with us on the next hurdle when we come back in the fall. Kavana, thank you for being a part of fire and participating. I think it's really important that we have all our igniters, whether you are there. It's not about attendance. Sometimes it's not even about the attendance. If you showed up and you've been there, it's important to acknowledge every moment along the way. So thank you for joining us. And last but not least, I believe, is the King School. So I want to shout out to Aaliyah. Thank you for staying, keeping it lit, joining our fires, and making the bonfire pop. Thank you so much. Andressa, thank you for your energy in participating and keeping the fire lit and joining us for our bonfire sessions. I look forward to many more with you. Anaya, thank you for being a part of the bonfire and keeping it lit. I look forward to seeing how you are going to reignite your excellence and move forward as a change maker within our world. Esleen, thank you for keeping it lit, keeping the fire going, and joining our bonfire sessions. I am so excited to be able to celebrate you today. Hats off. Janetta, thank you so much for being a part of our fire sessions and keeping it lit, bringing that good energy, and sometimes throwing the water when it got a little bit too hot when need be. Michaela, thank you so much for keeping it lit, igniting the fire, and joining us for our bonfire sessions. I look forward to many more. Continue to be the best version of you that you can be. Marialis, thank you so much for participating in our fire sessions and keeping it lit, especially Friday mornings. Mornings are a period we all want to get up and go to sleep, but you showed up, showed out, and made every Friday lit. So thank you for your energy. Melissa, light. I hope you brought the light to the match to the fire. So thank you for keeping it sparked up and doing the thing. I appreciate your energy. Yeah, I see you in the chat. How you doing? Keep that fire ignited. Thank you for your participation and your energy and being with us today. Millie, thank you for your time and joining us and keeping it lit around the bonfire. I look forward to many more marshmallow sessions, and I want to join in on some of those. So I look forward to seeing you be the best version of yourself that you can be. I don't want to mess this up. Ramadana, thank you so much for your great energy and joining us during our fire sessions and keeping it lit and ignited. I am excited to celebrate you on this day. So thank you for making fire what it is. Sheila, make sure I get my apologies. Sheila, thank you so much for your energy and participating in the bonfire and keeping the fire ignited with the other ladies at the King School. I know those fire sessions were dynamic, and I thank you for being there. Victoria, sending good energy. Thank you for joining the fire, keeping it lit. Appreciate you. I look forward to many more sessions and more opportunities to burn the fire and keep it lit with you as well. We have reached the end of our programming, but today has been an amazing day nonetheless. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. Thank you to our igniters. Thank you to our partners. Thank you to my amazing team. It has been a pleasure to share space with you all today. Thank you for attending our very, 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 very first Fire Symposium. I know, Money Mo, it's just like our sessions. We never want it to be over when it's getting so good. We've heard from our amazing speakers. Thank you so much to Beth. Thank you so much to Shaitia. Thank you so much. Excuse me, a little bit dry. Thank you so much to Liz. Thank you to our panelists. You have kept it lit. Thank you to our sponsor, Pegasystems, for making today happen, joining us in the table talks. I hope you have been fired up, ignited, feeling good, got to learn something new from someone today, got to hear a different perspective, and got to share your story as well, because that is so important during our time. I hope you all have enjoyed yourself. It has been my pleasure to be your host for today. And next year, in person, let's throw that out in the universe together. There's enough of us to make that happen, where we will be in person. Let's put that out. Let's keep your fire ignited and have a great, great, great rest of your day. To affinity and beyond. Bye.